Okay, hello everyone. So the time is 12 o'clock Central European time and 1 o'clock Finnish and Bulgarian time. If you all can hear me loud and clear, please write something in the chat so I can see you're here and everything is working and working as it should. Great. It works. I can see we are quite a lot of people today, but we also have a lot of participants. So we'll just wait around 1 more minute before we start, and then then we will start up with this webinar, which I'm very excited about. All right. How is the picture? Can you see me? Don't comment on the person behind the camera, but is the picture working? The camera? Good. It's nice that you are so active in the chat today, and that's good. That's very good. So we will start up slowly now, and today's session is something completely new. We have never done it before. Never done it in Alterca. I've never done it personally. So it's a complete new webinar which has been requested many times by you. So that's probably also why we have so many participants today. And to be honest, I've been very confused about the topics I should include in this advanced course for today. So I've prepared something for you, which I really hope that you will like. The session will not be as long as the basic course, which lasted 2 hours, and I guess most of you, probably all of you, have been participating in the basic course as well. So I guess this webinar will take 1.5 hour or something like that. So we have plenty of time also to be creative, to do some of the fun stuff, to play a little around with Shelly and what it's actually are capable of doing. So during this webinar, please send me your questions. I will take time to answer your questions. If you have anything specific you want to see, want to learn, then we will do it. I will not spend too much time on PowerPoint presentation today. Of course, I have some slides which I will show you, but I will jump forth and back between the presentation that I have and my own installation, my private installation, Shelly installation here in my home. Because what I will do today is basically to try make like a real installation. So I've already installed Shellys around my house. Many of the scenes and automations are based on scenes, but I would like to do more local actions and so on. So and also some scripting, doing something with the electricity prices and so on. So these are some of the things we'll try to do today. Try to make my own installation work more locally, and also play with some of the functions and features we have in Shelly. So I'm open to suggestions, wishes, and whatever you would like to learn about, and then we will just start with what I have prepared. And of course, if I forgot to say, this session will of course be recorded. So if you need to leave earlier, this very often happens, and then I will share with you the recordings later today, latest tomorrow. So you will get the recordings. You will also get the presentation. The purpose with the presentation today is not necessary that after this training that you will be able to do everything that I do. My intention is to give you the right tools to be able to search the information and be able to do it on your own. Of course, we got your back. We are here to support you as well if you have any questions. But it's important to me that just to provide you the right tools so you'll be able to do these things on your own. All right. So let's switch to my presentation, and let's see how it works, what we have prepared. So, the advanced course, and I just want to speak a little bit about what is going on and what we have planned for the future. So, this is the basic course you see in the left side here, which I guess most of you have participated in, and if you haven't, then no worries. I will not go too much into product details and what we can do with Shelly products. I will go more into solutions and detailed functionality with the products. So in the basic course, I went more through the overall functionality of the products and giving you an overview of the assortment and so on. Yeah, and now we're here today with the advanced session, and as mentioned, where I'm going much more into the depth of the installation process, the programming process, how you can make things run locally, some suggestions to make it more running more stable and so on. Then I'm writing here something about coming soon fleet management. So we have a platform called Fleet Management. It's already available, so you can go find it and install it on a local server. But it's being developed constantly, and it's going very fast now. So within 3-4 weeks, we have an updated version of the fleet management platform. So this basically gives you a local cloud, which gives you some more local opportunities, even more opportunities than we have right now, which is great for especially offices and more professional installations. So I'm very excited to announce that this is something coming in the near future, probably in a few months. So don't expect it tomorrow, but in a few months we will be launching the fleet management local cloud training sessions as well. And then I'm also considering whether we should also have some sessions where we are diving even deeper into third-party platforms, because as you know, this is one of the strongest parts of Shelly. So working together with a lot of third-party platforms, but there are so many to choose from. So should we do more about MQTT, more about Home Assistant, Homey, Google Home, Alexa, or so there are so many platforms to choose from, and it will be difficult to cover all of them, but we could pick a few and dive more deep into how to get started and to integrate Shelly with these. So please, if you have any suggestions or any requests for these things, send me an email after the meeting or in the future. Then I will consider what we will do. Good thing is that we are also working on extending our organization here in the Nordics. So as you might know, if you, I completely forgot to introduce myself. For those of you who have not seen me or participated in the past webinar, I'm sorry about that. My name is Dennis. I am educated electrician. I've been working a few years at the professional wholesale business in Denmark as a product manager for intelligent building installations and also lighting. And then I moved to a big lighting company, worked there for 6 years in technical support, in sales, and in product management. And since October last year, I started at Eltargo at Shelly as responsible for the Scandinavian and Nordics. So that's where I am now. And currently, I'm the only one in the Nordics working here. But we are looking to expand our organization. So we'll probably get some local people also in Finland as well. And I guess most of you are from Finland. I know there are some people outside Finland, and that's just fine. So let me know in the chat if you're not from Finland, where you're from. I'm just curious. It's all right. So let me just know so I can see which people we have here. Romania, Portugal, UK. That's great. A lot of places. Yeah. So the great thing is that we're not just expanding in the Nordics. We are expanding in most of Europe actually. So So getting more local people, getting more local people in different organizations. So we want to be a main one of your main choices when it comes to smart home and smart building systems. So that's definitely our target. But yeah, I am here in Denmark, located, but trying to provide you with these trainings, not just for Denmark and Finland, but all of you who are interested, basically, because we don't do much of this. We have a bigger focus on training and education in the future, and I will also show you something which was announced yesterday about scripting, which is very interesting. So, good. Let's continue. Another thing we are working on, as I also mentioned in the when I had the basic trainings, was that we are working on a dedicated training platform for installers, and it has been taking longer time than I thought, but we are very close to have the platform up and running. So in 1 month, probably we will be able to launch our first online trainings, not webinars like this one, but a training platform which you can log into, and both from the web browser and from the app or whatever you would like to do, and start training sessions. And this is not the scripting training I'm talking about. This is something a little bit like the webinars I'm doing here, but more deeper, where you can go through the topics. You can get some more documentation, and also do some tests to see if you really got all of the stuff understood right. Good. Enough about this. Let's get started. So the agenda for today is some network setup. So basically, I will start from the bottom. Of course, as I will also be mentioning, such a dedicated or specific network setup, which I will show you, is definitely not necessary. But this is what I recommend you to do when you are starting to offer Shelly more professionally. So if you are starting to offer it more professionally, you should also look into a better internet setup. So creating a dedicated IoT network is something we will do. Set up static IP addresses, and what is static IP addresses versus IP reservations. I will also cover this. Smart features, IP address documentation. So this is the first part. This is like some of the basics before you really can get started. Then I will go into some more details, device settings and features. So that's a question in the chat, if this will be recorded and you will get the material later. Yes, you will get everything after the webinar tonight or tomorrow. I will share with you the presentation and also the recorded session. Looking deeper into the device settings, because one of the great things about Shelly, but also one of the more challenging things, is that we have so many different settings that can be done on the devices itself. So we will look more into some of these to understand them better. We will look more into energy consumption and tariff settings, so how to set up this properly in the app, so you get the best possible consumption overview. And you will see when I share my presentation that I have not done it right. So we will play a little around with it to see if we can optimize how I'm showing my energy consumption. Something about the range extender functionality, something about external temperature sensor for TRVs, for example, illumination and motion settings, which is also something important to get a nice functionality in your daily. Then, after understanding all of these and setting all of these device settings, then we can jump right into the automation part and all of the fun. To start making automations. So I will talk a little bit about local versus cloud connection. That's already a good question. Can the dimmer be used for few watt fan control? it's important to tell that the dimmer mainly it is developed for dimming of leading and trailing edge lamps, so halogen lamps, LED lamps, etc. With that said, it can be used for fan control, but there's no guarantee that this will work. I've done it with success. I've also burned off some devices. So yes and no, it can be done, but you will always need at least to use the RC snubber to prevent spikes and so on. So it can help, but there's no guarantee that this will work, and it might be burning off your dimmer. But basically, a fan can be controlled by phase cut dimming. All right. About the automation part. So, as I said, I will jump more into local and cloud-based automations. I will jump into scenes. I'll jump into actions, DDD, which stands for direct device-to-device communication, and a little scripting. I'll not go too much into scripting. I'll show you a little bit more. I'm not an expert in this, but soon, as I mentioned, you will get the possibility to become expert yourself. And then some best practice, some solar production, how to use the overproduction in your own house instead of sending the produced energy back to the electricity grid. Something about Shelly Plus add-on and Shelly Plus use cases. You might be able to see them in my bag. So it's not very nicely set up, but I have them in my bag here just to show you some examples and use cases. And also a little bit about inductive loads and troubleshooting and so on. So a lot of things to talk about, but we will take it slowly, and I will take time to answer questions because we will definitely make it within the 2 hours. And as said, in 1.5 hour, I guess we will be ready. But this is the first time I'm doing this webinar, so all the feedback after this webinar is very appreciated. So I'll probably also optimize it for the next few webinars I'll do. Good. Again, very important. The following settings are not necessary for using Shelly. This is just recommendations for making a more stable and when you want to make more professional setups. Reasons for creating a dedicated IoT network. So there could be more reasons than this. But one thing is that it's easier for you to secure the data and privacy because you will then be able to control the communication between the devices and the cloud services. So the first thing that is also very important to mention is that we are in control of our cloud data. It's all in our hands, so your data are secure and will not be shared with any Chinese servers or whatever you might be afraid of. So there's no risk about that, but still, some people really like it, and I completely understand the reason for that. So with a dedicated IoT network, you will be able to set up firewall rules, etc., to secure your privacy and network even more. But I will not go such deep into this. I will share with you some links to where you can learn even more about this. I'm not an IT expert, but I know the basics, and that's what I'm going to show you today. Another reason is that, at least for me, it's much easier to control fixed IP addresses and reserved IP addresses when you have them on a separate network, separated from your smartphones, from your computer and television, whatever you're using in your daily. So having such a dedicated network makes it just more easy to control IP reservations and fixed IP addresses. And also to prevent duplicated IPs, because this might happen. And this is now happening for me. I am not switched to a dedicated IoT network yet. I've created it. I will show you how I did it. And now together today, we will move some of my devices to the dedicated IoT network I've created. So I really hope this works. It's always when you're doing something online, it's not working as it should. But I really hope that everything will just work perfectly during this session. So I am using Ubiquiti Unify Network here at my home. So this is just a recommendation from my side. I really like the Ubiquiti. You're getting a very good quality, a lot of functionalities for a decent price level. But the principles are basically the same if you're using TP-Link, Sixel, or some other kind of brand. So typically, to access your router, you need to log into 192.168.1.1. Of course, this might be different if you have another internet setup or another router, whatever. But this is typically how you can access your router. When you have done this, in Ubiquiti at least, you can go to networks and then you can set up your new wired network. And on this screenshot here, you will get the presentation afterwards. You can see my recommended settings right here. But I will also send you a share link with you where you can read much more in depth about recommended settings. After that, you also need to set up a dedicated Wi-Fi network. So you have the wired network and you have the Wi-Fi network, and both of them needs to be set up correctly to ensure a much stable installation. Good, and also here you can see my recommended settings. And if you want to go much more into details, I can really recommend watching these videos, YouTube videos from the Hookup. He has made a series called the Ultimate Home Network Guide. So very good. I guess the links of these videos is kind of the same link as my complete webinar today. So I'll definitely not go too much into details, but yeah, let's try to do it. Oops, now it's playing. It was not meant that it should do that. All right. Static IP addresses versus IP reservations. So this is basically a discussion where people never will have the same opinion. Typically, we can all agree on that IP reservations or static IP addresses are the best, but it's different from person to person what they prefer. I'll just explain what these different kind of IP settings mean. So DHCP is like the range of IP addresses you have available on your network, where your devices will obtain an IP address automatically. So meaning when you connect something to your Wi-Fi network, your device will connect to your router, and your router will just find a free IP address to dedicate to this device. So this is very simple. But while we have some battery operated devices and so on, we might face that some of them will go into sleep mode, and when they wake up, they will try to use the same IP address as they had in the past, but they will not be able to connect because in the meantime you have installed a new Shelly device or something else, and it is now blocking for that IP address. So to be able to control your IP addresses better, you might need to do either IP reservations or static IP addresses. IP reservations means that the DHCP server on your router will reserve the IP addresses using the device's MAC addresses to identify them. And you can reserve the IP addresses from your router settings. So everything here to make IP reservations is done from your router. Static IP addresses though, and this is highlighted with blue because this is what I recommend, and this is not necessarily easier to keep the overview, but I just feel, and I've also read other people recognize that this is just working better with Shelly, especially when it comes to battery operated devices. It is saving more battery. It is also reacting faster when you have set static IP addresses on the devices. And static IP addresses, with those settings, it is the device itself that says to the router, hey, I'm a dimmer. I want IP address 192.168.1.15, something like that. And if the IP address is already in use on the router, then of course this dimmer cannot connect to the router. So there are a possibility for having duplicated IP address by using static IP addresses, but nevertheless, if you are keeping a good overview, and I have a list for you, I will share with you where you can enter your IP addresses you have set, then it's not a problem because you will constantly have the overview of the IP addresses you have used or not. This will also help you in the future when making DDD actions or webhooks or whatever you would like to call it, local automations. All right, so in this session, I will show you how to set static IP addresses. I will not show you the rest. I'll show you how to set static IP addresses. And then there are some smart features and other recommendations. So smart features, we are recommend always them to be turned off. And smart features are often known as UAPSD or WMM power save mode. Turn off this in your router settings if they are turned on. If you have IGMP snooping on, turn it off, at least on your IoT network. It does not have to be turned off on your normal network, but on your IoT network. It has just been proved that it is working better with Shelly. And here are some other recommendations. Make sure not to have Wi-Fi isolation or access point isolation mode enabled. Also turn off 5 gigahertz. You will not use it anyway. And again, we are only talking about your IoT network. 5 gigahertz is great for your smartphone, television, computer, whatever. But there's basically none. Maybe there are some out there, but not many IoT devices that speaks or communicates with 5 gigahertz network. And if they do, they probably also work with 2.4 gigahertz. And 2.4 gigahertz just have a longer Wi-Fi range. So to prevent that the devices is trying to be pushed on the 5 gigahertz network, use the 2.4 gigahertz and turn off the 5 gigahertz. And here, as very important actually, because I've just been making a quite large project with a lot of Shellys, and I couldn't understand when the device has gone into sleep mode or the router have been restarted or something like that. Quite a few battery operated devices would not reconnect automatically, and it turns out that the router automatically was changing channels, changing wireless channels, kind of like an optimization to find the best channel available and so on. But the battery operated devices will try to when they go out of sleep mode, they'll try to connect back to the same Wi-Fi channel. And if your router or access point has changed channel, then you might face issues with reconnecting. So select a fixed channel, wireless Wi-Fi channel on your devices. All right, so here is a link to something called shelly.guide / getting started / Wi-Fi router setup. Inside here, I've not written it, I've copy pasted. I've got this is my website. This is a private project which I'm doing basically in my spare time, because when I'm gathering information, finding some good guides online, I really needed a place where I could stock all of these informations. So I've now bought this domain and started writing guides and so on inside here. There's not much yet, but it's getting better and better, and everything I have something new important, I will write it and insert it here. And I found a very, very good guide from a guy called Carrie from the United States, and he said to me it was definitely okay that I used his guide on this website. So Until now, I've only put a link to his guide, but I will copy paste it into to the website and probably also adjust a little bit. There are so many good recommendations in this guide about Wi-Fi setup. So do yourself a favor, spend 10 minutes of your life reading this. It's very good information. Good. And last point here about Wi-Fi settings, keep a good documentation, because when you start setting fixed IP addresses, then it's much easier also to do automations in the future. So use an Excel template or something like that, develop your own or use mine, because I'll share this with you. This is an Excel template where you can insert network information, you can insert also programmer information, install information. If you're a professional, you can print this in a PDF documentation or share it with your customer, whatever. So you have this kind of documentation also for future future use when you need to update your customers' Shelly installations or whatever. So this is definitely a good recommendation. I am not just recommending you to insert the IP address, I also recommend you to insert information about the device type, the room, the device name and device ID, because when you have all of these informations gathered in one file and one sheet, it is much easier also to identify devices when they are for some reason not working anymore or whatever. You might need to replace a device or something like that. So it has been helping me a lot to keep this overview. Good. So that was information about Wi-Fi. So before going to the next slides, I will try to jump into my router to show you how this works and how we can also set fixed IP addresses on devices, just to get started and to show you how this works. Let me just grab something, just some coffee, and then we'll continue. Good. I hope this is not too boring, but in my opinion, important information to keep things working stable. Let me change my screen. Like that. All right. So here you can see I've went to the IP address of my router, 192.168.1.1, and from here I am now logged into my own private UDM Pro Ubiquiti Unify router. So this is how it looks like, and I can see a lot of information from the home screen right here. I can see information about my access points, most active clients, and etc. And now I want to go to my network settings to show you how we can set up dedicated IoT network. Good. To do that, we need to go to, okay, I need to update, I think, the website. And of course, as I said, now we are doing this live. I used to pre-record videos, but now when we're doing these things live, it's always going wrong. Let's hope that it helps to update interface. 1 second. Let me open a new window. Let's see if it's better. All right, now it's better. So that's actually how it looked like when you have just logged in. I'll go to network. And from my network settings, I will go to my settings and network settings. Network settings might be the first thing you will set up. And I've already done the setup, but I'll just show you again what I did to do the setup. So you can see I have my default networks here. I have my default network. I have my guest network. So this is just written in Danish, guest network. And I have my Shelly IoT network. So pressing on it, the Shelly IoT network, I can show you the settings. So normally the Ubiquiti Unified tries to get you to use the autoscale network, but I don't want to use the autoscale network. So here you need to define your host address, and so you can define the host address just as you want. But my recommendation is to I like to use 192.168.20.1 for IoT network. You could also use .2 or .3 or whatever, but I'll use .20. Then you need to select your net mask, and so as this is a private installation, I will go with /24. /24 netmask 24 means that I have 249 available hosts. With hosts, I mean IP addresses that can be connected. If you are working with larger scale installations, you can add a multiple. So not just one, but more, a separated network with 249 available hosts, or you could choose one of the other kind of net masks, like it could be /16, which basically gives you 65,489 usable IP addresses. So this is really for large scale installations, extremely large scale installations. But you can have, as you can see, extremely many devices on one network if you need to. But /24 is kind of quite standard. All right. And now you can see here gateway IP, broadcast IP, etc., and the subnet mask. I typically copy the subnet mask because you'll need it. So copy it into your file, and probably I've not shared my file yet, but I will just do it so I can show you how it looks like when I am copying into the file. Just one second, I have another window open right here, which I'll show you in a moment. Okay, this is not working that good. Like that. All right. And I forgot to set this up. I'm sorry about that. Just 20 seconds. Here we go. So now you can see it. So this is my Excel file. So I typically copy and paste the informations needed. And I forgot to insert my gateway. So we should do that. My subnet mask, sorry. Like that, because I will need that. Good. So now I have all of my information. I have my SSID, I have my password, I have my gateway, my DNS, my subnet mask, and also I entered my DHCP range. And with DHCP range, I'll show you how I've set that up as well. Now I'll change my screen again to this one to show you how I've been setting up the rest. So I've pressed manual when it came to the advanced settings. I needed to enter a VLAN ID, and personally I love when the VLAN ID is the same as my host address, or the third number here in the host address. So I changed this to 20. Network type was standard, and all of these things and settings is here. Like I mentioned, IGMP snooping is disabled, and it is luckily disabled as a standard in Ubiquiti Unify, but it is definitely not the standard on all routers out there. And here I defined my DHCP range. So as mentioned earlier, DHCP is the range of IP addresses where your devices will automatically get a free IP address from your router, from your DHCP server. So here you can see that my DHCP range is definitely wrong. So I forgot to set up this yesterday, and I want some people want, as mentioned, many free IP addresses for their DHCP range, but I would prefer to have a few because setting up my DHCP range like this gives me only 54 IP addresses from .200 to .254 IP addresses where my devices automatically will obtain an IP address. This gives me around 200 IP addresses where I can dedicate on my own as fixed IP addresses. All right, and that's all for now. So let me just press. There's no save button. That might be it. All right. Let me see. Did it save it? We'll just check. Yes, it did save. It did save it. Perfect. So that was my network here. Now I need to set up the Wi-Fi network as well. So this was the wired network. Now we go to the Wi-Fi network, and from here I also need to set up a dedicated IoT network. I've already done it, but I'll show you how it works. So I call it Shelly IoT. I gave it a password. And what is very important here, as I mentioned in the basic training session, you should think about when you do these more professional systems are basing your home system on like Shelly, then it is important that when you sell your house still needs to work. So if you are doing a lot of wireless automations with Shelly, which is based on Wi-Fi, then your lights or automations will not work if you remove your router. So your router is the communication point, is the device that is being used for communication between your devices. So keep your router a part of the house and choose a password which is of course safe, but also can be handed over to new owners. So don't use your password for your netbank or whatever. Use a password that can be handed over to someone else. So in this example, which I'm doing here today, I picked the password. It's a very simple password, Shelly, and picked the name Shelly IoT. Just a recommendation from my side. This is also a good point. So I've just here given access to all of my access points. But what you will see that the hookup is recommended in his videos is to dedicate different IoT networks to different access points. Like on the ground floor, you might have 1 or 2 access points. On the first floor, you might have 1 or 2 access points. And outside, you might have 1 or 2 access points. So by doing it like that, you can have more Wi-Fi networks and dedicate them to specific access points. And this also helps a lot so your devices is not switching from one access point to another, and it will, especially for battery operated devices, this can cause some problems. But in my case, I have a quite big house, but I don't see any problems with just using all of the access points for one dedicated network. Probably in the future, but watch his videos, look how he's doing. It's very interesting to see. Advanced sessions, as you can see, I've switched off the 5 gigahertz wireless network. I've chose the Wi-Fi type as standard, bandwidth profile as default, and here, as I mentioned, very important, make sure that UAPSD is disabled. And if you scroll down, you can see all of the standard settings is just as they should be. So this is perfect. Now I have actually made my setup as it should be. Did I forget something? Yeah, important. I forgot to tell that your network should be connected to the Shelly IoT network that you made. That's it. So now we have set up the network. And here, by the way, global settings. This is what I talked about the frequency, the radio. So here I've made 20 megahertz as my fixed custom wireless frequency band, because then I'm sure that my Wi-Fi 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi network is not switching around different channels. So this will hopefully give me a more stable Wi-Fi settings. Good. Enough about this. Now I would like to to switch over to this network for some of my devices. I will do it step by step because then I'm more in control. So I have already logged into my Shelly controlled Shelly.cloud, so the beta platform, web platform. And inside here, I have my demo board. And the demo board is what you can see right behind me. So I will start with these devices. I already made a test yesterday with the Shelly Pro 4 PM, and you can see probably from the device settings that this is already on the new network that is called 192.168.20.10. So I already moved this device. Now I'll try to move some of the other devices to show you how this process works. So maybe I can do a split screen. That could be awesome. So this will look strange to you just for a while, but it will. I think it will be good very soon. Oh no, this was a mistake. Here. All right. Now everything is as it should be, and I should be able to share with you two different screens like this. All right. Good. Now you can see what I'm actually playing around with right here. So I have my documentation file. I have my devices and the web interface in the left side. And now I would like to basically copy my new network settings over to my device settings. So let me find some devices I would like to move. I would like to move my Shelly dimmer. And the Shelly dimmer is the one I have behind me. Maybe you can see if I turn it on. Yeah, I'll turn it on, I'll turn it off. It works. Good. And to be able to change Wi-Fi settings, you go to the Wi-Fi, the globe here, the globe icon, and press Wi-Fi 1. And now you can see that it is connected to my IP address 192.168.1.246, which is a DHCP address. Now I would like to move it to another IP address. So first thing I would like, this is my demo board. So I write demo board. This is a Shelly demo 2. So I'm starting by adding all of the device information. I like to have the device ID because it makes things much easier for me when I need to do replacement or whatever. I need to get support from the Shelly team or whatever. Device type, you can just press the copy button here and just copy paste it. And device type and device type and device name is just the same in this this example here. And now I also want another IP address, and to control the IP address, I can just do it like this in the Excel. Just press and take it down, and then you can see here it automatically changes to 192.168.20.11. So .11 is the next IP address I want to give this device. So go to the globe icon here and press set static IP address. And now you need to enter some new information. First, you need to enter the IP address you want to give your device. I'm doing that right here. Here, the subnet mask, and the subnet mask is the same already as in the previous Wi-Fi network. So I'll keep that. And here I need to enter my new gateway here. And this is, it will be changed now from .1 to .20. DNS is optional. You could enter it if you have entered a DNS in your router settings. And now I also need to enter my new Wi-Fi credentials. And it is very important that you enter the right credentials. So that's why I'm copy pasting every single time, because then I know it's correct and I can just watch, yeah, this is the right password. And then now I've entered everything. So I'll press apply. it will take a moment. So now we'll try to push my Shelly Dimmer 2 to over to the new Wi-Fi. It can take 30 seconds or something like that. It needs to reboot. Oops, what I'm doing here, like that. So let's just wait a second. So we can see here it's already connected to Shelly IoT, and the IP address here, it's already connected. Sometimes it does not appear right away when you go to device information, but I should be able to see. No, it did not appear here. But typically, when you update your browser window here, I should be able to see it also in the device information. Yes, I can see it now. And this means that I can now go to the new IP address of the device, open it in my browser, and will be able to control my device from the new IP address in the browser. And I should be able, yes, I can turn it on, off. You can see it in my back. So it worked. Perfect. So I basically have been moved 2 devices now to my new Wi-Fi network. Let me just do it with one more device, just to repeat the process. I want to move also. That's a question. I tried to change the static IP over the VVV. 3M got totally stuck, and it's not even after reset works. Any idea to reset it? I've also tried kind of similar thing. Not with the 3EM. If you somehow by accident enter some faulty information on the device, it can become a problem, because it will try to connect to a Wi-Fi network with wrong credentials, and it will not be possible. Very often, because I've done this a few times, and very often it just kind of goes back to previous settings, but definitely not always. So it's strange that you cannot reset it. This is strange. It should be possible to make a reset. But you can write me an email if you have device information. You will probably still be able to see device information in the app. So give me your device ID after this meeting, and I will try to see if I can find out anything about your device. It should be possible just to reset it and connect to its access point, its own access point that it will create, and do the new settings once again. Strange. Because if you enter wrong information, it typically just will try to go back to previous Wi-Fi credentials, and it should work from there. Okay, I just want to, I have a Shelly i4 installed in the back. Can you say your email address? I'll just type my email address in the chat where you can send information, but you should also have it from joining this webinar. Okay, good. Shelly plus i4. This is the next one I would like to switch, because then I will try to do some automations later in this session between those devices. So again, I go to the globe here. No, let me just start with device information. I always want my device information in my file, because then the device ID, etc., can be used to if something goes wrong by accident. Device type and device name is written up here. Button 1. And it's my demo room, and I want this device to be on .12 as my IP address. And the thing is, as this is an Shelly i4, the Shelly i4 basically gives me 4 devices inside the Shelly Cloud app with the same IP address. So what will happen now is that I will get 4 devices with the same IP address. So I can copy my information. I personally still like to have these information, because I will now have a button 1, button 2, button 3, and button 4. You can probably, it's not easy to see, but in my bag, I have 4 switches here with the i4 on here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I will try to to do some setup and some automations with these buttons right after. So that's why I'm keeping the information. That's a question if I will send this template after the meeting. And yes, I will send the template together with the presentation, together with the link to the recorded session later today. And if not today, latest tomorrow. All right, so I've entered the information. I've entered the IP address I want to switch to, but I still need to make the change in the app. So on the device. So let's go to Wi-Fi settings. I want to set a static IP address. I will enter the new information first. Copy the new IP address I would like to have. Then I need to copy my network settings. So SSID. My password, let me check if it's correct. It is. My gateway, which is this one. And I'm always double checking that these informations are correct, because again, if I do something wrong, it takes longer time to fix it than anything else. All right, I'll hit apply, and hopefully this device will now connect to the new Wi-Fi network, IoT network I've made. In the meantime, get some coffee. All right, it says disconnected. It's not always that the status is updating by itself. So sometimes you need to either try to turn on or turn off the device, or to now it connected. You can see it switched to my new IoT network. Let me try to press the IP address and see if we can enter it. Yes, we can enter the web interface of the device with the new IP address. So it's working perfectly. How smooth was that? That's great. Okay, so now I've already moved these devices to my new Wi-Fi IoT network. That's great. So now you know the basics. Now you know how this is working, and I basically don't want to go more into details with this. Remember to save your document while doing this, so you don't lose your data and so on. This is also very important, of course, because accidents can happen. All right, good. Let me just see what is next. That's a question. Do we need to apply same static IP that we added in Shelly in the router? No, you don't have to. If you were making IP reservations, then you needed to do it in the router. But that's a very good question, actually. Let me just show you right here how it looks like when I go to my router settings. So I will hide this one, and good. So let me go to my router settings to show you. Hopefully I can find the devices in my router settings right now. They should have automatically obtained those IP addresses, because when I'm setting the static IP address on the device itself, it will try to push this IP address to ask to use this IP address in my router. So let me see, let me go, here, client devices. Here you can see all of the devices I have on my network. If I scroll down to the bottom, I should be able to see the latest ones. Yes, here you can see my Shelly Pro 4. It automatically obtained the new IP address, 192.168.20.10. And the Shelly Dimmer, it automatically obtained the new IP address. This is the one we just switch over. So 192.168.20.11, and the it says it's an i3, probably because it does not know that this is actually an Shelly i4, but it obtained the correct IP address. I could press, and I could give it a new name or whatever. If you want to make IP reservations, you press settings, and no, where is it? Probably I forgot how to make IP reservations. Fixed IP, yeah, fixed IP. That's an IP reservation, and from here you can choose which IP address you would like to make. So that's an IP reservation. How you're making an IP reservation from the router. but by doing what I just did is an static IP address, because I fixed it from the device settings and not from the router settings. Hope it makes sense. Good. Let's get back to the presentation, because now we have moved our devices. What is the next thing we would like to do? Let me just follow my presentation to see. All right, and let me make it fill out the screen. So this was the wrong one. Let me find this one. No. I'm fucking up. I'm sorry. Okay. So I'm showing the wrong presentation. Here you go. And like that, finally. All this technique is kidding me. All right, good. So that was the first part. I can see the times go, so maybe we will get close to the 2 hours, but I'll try to speed up so we'll do everything. Detailed device settings and features. So I've not made any slides about this. So this is basically device settings, how devices are working. So this is just ideas of what I would like to go through today. Button settings, energy consumption and tariff settings, range extender, external temperature settings, etc., etc. So I will probably rather go to my device, go to my web interface, play around with some automations, and then do the device settings. While doing it, it will probably give you a better idea of how things are working. So let me continue with the presentation, and then we'll jump back to this part when actually doing it. All right, automation part, local versus cloud automation. So, and scenes, action, DDD, scripting. I will just go through these things. So very important when talking about local and cloud automations or actions. There's a few different things to understand. So we have the scenes part in Shelly. I'll quickly show you how scenes works. You should remember from the last webinar, but for some of you, it might be a long time ago. So I'll show you quickly again how the scenes works, and also how the HTTP actions, DDD actions works. So basically, when you switch the button, switch with a Shelly device behind. It could be a switch with an i4 button behind. Then it will send a wireless command to your Wi-Fi router, to your Wi-Fi network. The Wi-Fi router will then send a command to the cloud. The cloud will respond with the automation you have created, because by using scenes, we need the cloud to work. We need cloud connection. So the cloud will respond back to the router, and the router will send the command to the light that will turn on, or whatever you have done in your automation. So this is how it works. The challenge with scenes is, if for some reason your fiber cable is being cut over, or your internet from the outside is falling out, then your automations will not work, because you're losing the connection to the Wi-Fi network. I don't know how it is in other countries, but I think with the technology we have today and so on, the infrastructure we have, the internet never goes down. It might happen once a year when they're working on the fiber or something like that, but it's so stable, so it's not an issue for me. But it could happen that the Wi-Fi, or not the Wi-Fi, that the internet goes down, and then you will lose your automations, which is quite annoying if your whole house is being set up so you cannot turn on and off your lights, etc., because you're using the scenes. The scenes are great functions, but all of the, like, in my recommendation is to, when you are doing automations that just needs to work, they should be operating locally. And you can do that by making HTTP automations or what I also call DDD actions, direct device to device commands. So again, by doing the same here with DDD actions, when you're pressing the switch still needs your local Wi-Fi network, and you will probably always have a local Wi-Fi network if your router has power, if it's not broken down or whatever. But as long as your router is working, then you can send a command on your local Wi-Fi network, which will respond back to the device you are trying to turn on or turn off or dim down or whatever you would like to do. So you are independent. You don't need the actual internet connection or the cloud service to work to be able to control your Shelly devices. So this is just my recommendation to make a fast and very stable setup. So that's a question. If HTTP automation is faster, yes, it definitely is. But again, I have an automation in my back right here, which is based on cloud. I'll just show you how fast it really is. I have a good Wi-Fi setup. I have a very good internet connection. But again, just look when I press the switch here. So basically, the lamp turned blue. So I made an automation to turn the lamp blue because my son really likes that, the blue color. So he can go inside here, press the switch, and it turns on blue. And this was using cloud service. So it basically happened in real time, immediately. But theoretically, if you have a bad Wi-Fi connection or whatever, it can take some more time. So the local action, HTTP action, will be faster. It all happened in milliseconds. Let me show you how we can do these automations. But first, I will tell you some basic about it. When you understand how it works, it is much, much faster to set up HTTP commands. But you just need to know how it works. So first, scenes versus DDD. What are the benefits, the advantages and disadvantages about this? So the main advantages by using scenes, and scenes is what I've made a screenshot of here. So what you are doing is that you can set up different triggers and so on to turn on and off different kind of things. So really advanced automations you can actually make by using scenes. So the main advantages of using scenes are they are very simple, they are more visual. So I guess everyone can start using scenes even without having any experience with automations and programming. It's very easy to get started with. There's a question, I'll just come back to this. It is also very easy to control multiple devices, so you can basically switch on as many devices as you would like to by using scenes. It's just about entering everything you want to happen in just one simple flow. You can also use and or functions, which means that in this case I actually made a scene that says when this motion sensor detects a motion and it's dark in the room, then the light will turn on. Or when another motion sensor detects motion and it's dark, then this dimmer will also turn on. So it's very easy to use these and or functions to make very advanced automations, and it is very simple. You can also make daily and weekly conditions, and you can also use scenes to send out notifications and alarms to your phone if something is happening. The main disadvantage is that it is requiring cloud, so you need internet connection to work to be able to use scenes. Sorry. So that's a question. What about if your router breaks down or you want to change your router to a new or better one? You will have to do all the settings to all the devices over again. Could be a huge work. Yes, it's a very good question, and that's also why I started recommending. If you know you are about to do a large installation, start with the Wi-Fi settings because it's easier to start with. But it's not that difficult to change anyway. You just need to know how you are setting up your router. So you can always change a router if it breaks down, or if you want to change it to a better and faster one. You just need the same setup, so same IP address range, same settings as I just showed you just on the new router. Then your Shelly devices should automatically connect again. And if they don't, most of them should. Maybe you need to restart them or something like that. But they should connect automatically to the new router if you set up the router with the same settings automatically. So that's a good thing. But that's also why I'm recommending to also to set a password that you can hand over and so on, because it is just easier to do right from the beginning. It's much easier to change a Wi-Fi router than changing your, for example, a Zigbee stick. If you have a Zigbee based system and your Zigbee stick breaks down, then you're in trouble. Then it will typically be very difficult, and you might need to reset all your devices, etc., to get it working again. Wi-Fi is much easier to get up and running again. Let me get something to drink. 1 second. All right. This course is taking longer time than I expected, but that's good. I really thought that it would happen too fast, more or less. Good. DDD, which stands for direct device to device, and that was the part where you're communicating with the Wi-Fi router and to your device, so no need of internet connection. So the main advantage here is that you don't need any cloud, and it works completely locally. It is so fast reaction a few milliseconds. And you also have the ability to manage other devices, or so with HTTP requests, you can actually also control third-party devices if they are supporting HTTP requests. Like I think even Sonos supports it if you are setting it up correctly, or could be your coffee machine or something like that. So you can control third-party devices if they have an API, and you can get the HTTP command that they would need. And then it is easy and fast to program very basic actions. The main disadvantage here is that it can be difficult to remember the URL commands and addresses. So my recommendation is, when you are doing it, you can see an example of an URL address down here. It's kind of small, but you can see it maybe. So they can be difficult to remember, but if you have a computer, if you have the tool, which I will show you on the website I'm doing, you have all of the most needed IP addresses right besides you, so you can just copy paste and edit the IP address. I will show you this in a while, how it works. Good. Rule of thumb. All settings made on the devices works locally. So I will show you what I mean about this. But if you press a device on your Shelly Cloud app, or in your web interface, then all of the settings you can see on the device typically works completely local, so without internet connection. And those are automatic on off. So for example, if you turn on the device, you can make it turn off automatically again after 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever. Schedules should work locally. Be aware that if they are offline in a too long period, it might lose its time zone, date and time. So it's best that it is getting some internet connectivity once in a while, or you could set up a dedicated time server. Actions works locally, and scripting works locally. But of course, again, if you are making a script that needs information from external websites or whatever, then you would need internet connection. But you can make local scripting. All right. So one example right here, if you go to pressing your device, going to this icon here, then you find the action settings where you can make these HTTP commands. And this is what you need to enter. You can do it from the app, smartphone app. You can do it from the web interface. You can also do it from the device settings itself. Then you need to give your action a name. define a time period when the action can be triggered, and you also need to define the condition, and at last you need to enter the URL action. Let me show you how this works, but first I will try to explain to you how these action works. So this can look a little bit complicated, but I'll try to make it as simple as possible. So first we have four kind of device types. So we have, here is the camera, the Shelly dimmer, which is a light type. We have Shelly +1 PM like here, which is a relay. So relay is what we are starting with right here. And you can see all devices which can be used as relays. So Shelly +1, Shelly +1 PM, Shelly +2, Shelly Pro 1, Shelly Pro 1 PM, Pro 2, Pro 2 PM, etc., etc. Even Shelly EM has a built-in relay. Shelly Uni has built-in relay. The Shelly Plugs also works as relays. And then you can see the HTTP command syntax, the build-up of the HTTP command. So we have the device IP here. We have /relay, because that's the device type, /channel, which means the channel of the device. The channel is a standard always 0. So if you have a Shelly dimmer like here, which only have one channel, it will always be 0. But if you have, like, 1 second, here, like a Shelly Pro 4 PM, then it has 4 channels. And again, the channel always starts with a 0. But if you would like to switch channel 4 on this device, then you need to enter channel 3 here, because it's 0, 1, 2, 3. Hope it makes sense. And then you have basically 2 different commands. You don't need to use both commands, but you have the first commands, which can be turn on, turn off, turn toggle. And these commands here can be combined with the timer, which is the second command here. So turn on and set a timer of 10 minutes. That's basically how it works. I will show an example in a moment. Then we have the roller types, and you can see it's a roller written in the URL address here. So the rollers can be Shelly +2 PM and Shelly Pro 2 PM. And the commands for those are go open, go close, go stop, and set the roller position from 0 to 100. And then you can also use the second command here, which is the duration in seconds. So you can, for example, make a command that says go open for 10 seconds. Then the roller will open for 10 seconds. Hope it makes sense. It will probably make even more sense when I show you. If you see here, this is examples of how it works. So IP address. First, you need to enter your IP address. And this is the IP address, not of the device you are sending the action from, but this is the IP address of the device you are targeting. So if I want to use my Shelly i4 to send a turn on command to my Shelly +1, then I need to enter the IP address of my Shelly +1. And this is exactly here where the Excel file gives so much sense, because you have the complete overview in one Excel file. You can just copy paste the IP address of the device into this action URL, and then you have made your action. Basically, it's so fast to do when you have tried it a few times. Then you send the command relay channel 0 is the first channel. If we wanted to switch channel 3 of our Shelly Pro 3, then it would be channel 2, 0, 1, 2. So that's basically how it works. And you can make the command here, turn on, turn off, toggle, and also combine with a timer if you want to. And the same for the roller, just an example of how it works right here. All right, then we have 2 more different kind of device types. We have the light, and the light is only used for the Shelly dimmer 2. So it's basically very much the same as with the relay. So we have device IP, the light, the channel, which is always channel 0 for the dimmer, because it only has one dimmer. Command, and we have the commands here, turn on, turn off, turn toggle, and we have some dim cycle, dim stop, dim cycle, dim up, dim down, and we can combine this also with not just with a timer, but we can also set the brightness. We can also set some step in percentage. So I will show you how this works also. And the last but not least, we have the color lights right here, and the white lights. And the color lights can be the RGBW2, the Duo E27, the Duo Geo10, and we have the white lights, which also can be the Shelly RGBW2. Be aware this has 4 channels, which you can switch. Duo E27, Duo Geo10, and the Shelly Vintage will also be called as a white. And you can just see the 2 different commands here, the color and the white lights, and how it works. And it's basically the same. You can turn on, turn off, turn toggle, set timer, set brightness. You can also set for the color lights the red, green, blue, and white channel from 0 to 255%. Yeah, this is how it works. To make it easy for you, I have a complete list, not of all, but all of the most used commands, and you can find the link just right here. I will show you in a moment. Okay, you cannot see it because of my camera, but if I if I move my camera, you can see the web address, but you will get the presentation as mentioned, so it will be easy for you to find the link after the session. All right, good. Let me scripting. Let me wait with the scripting. Let me show you how to make some DDD commands before going to the scripting part. Okay. Let me switch my screen to where is it? Browser mode. This one. Okay. And I will go to my installation now. Here. Let's try to use this DDD commands. First, I'll show you where you can find information. Go to shelly.guide. Go to webhooks/https requests. So very important. Also, first generation devices only support HTTP requests. If you want secure URL commands, then you need a second generation device. Then you can use the HTTPS. All right. Good. On this website, you can read all of the basics, learn more about DDD, direct device to device commands, benefits, how it's being set up, everything that I just showed you. And if you scroll enough down, you can also read a little bit about the relay commands. You can read about these device IP and channels. You can read about outputs and so on. Read about the commands, some examples down here. But if you just scroll to the bottom, which I typically do, then you can see the most frequently used HTTP commands. And there came just a very good question. How about the open window info on TRV received from door window? Can we talk a little bit on how it should work? Yes. Let me show you how to do some basic lights first. Then afterwards, I will show you how to receive external temperature measurements from external sensors, but also about door window. If you want to make it, let me know if you want to what you want with the door window. For example, close the TRV when it's open. We can also go into this. Definitely. All right, let's make a few examples right here. So if you remember, we just moved some of my devices to new IP addresses on the IoT network. Now I want to do some basic programming with these. So I have the 4 buttons up here where I have my i4 in behind. And then I have my Shelly dimmer, which is the light here. I will zoom in a moment, and then I'll show you how this works. So first, I will do this bigger. Now you can probably better see. So headphones. So we have the 4 buttons right here, and I have named them button 1, button 2, button 3, button 4. And right now my button 4 is turning the light blue, as I mentioned, because of, my son likes it. So I will try to make some new functionality with these, but with DDD commands. So what I need to do is to turn on and off. It could be my dimmer, as I just moved. And the dimmer is currently controlling this lamp here. I've also made a hard wiring from the dimmer here, so I can switch it on and switch it off by hard wiring. But now I want to use these, which are wireless connected. So want to do this by DDD commands. All right, we only have a half hour left, so I need to speed up, I see. Shelly dimmer 2, these are the main commands for the Shelly dimmer. Light on, light off, light toggle, light on with a timer in seconds, light off with a timer in seconds, light on, set brightness, etc. Let me try to use the first button to turn on. Let me use the second button to, let me just see, to turn off. And let me use the third button to turn on and set the brightness very low. Okay, so to turn on, I need this command right here. So I just marked it and copied it. Now I need to go to my Shelly.cloud. And from here, I can see my buttons. So this is the button 1, where I want the device to turn on. First, I need to set the right button settings, and this is now we need to go back to what I talked about. So first, input-output settings. Here you can set the different kind of devices. So a button or a switch. So this is not a button, this is a switch. A button means that if I have like a spring in behind and it will automatically switch back or toggle back, then it's a button. But now it's a switch because when I press it, I just switch it. So I hit save. This is a switch. It is behind your camera screen. What is behind my camera screen? I'm not sure exactly what you mean. What do you mean? I'm sorry. I saved it, so now it's a button. Just resize. I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry. Need to resize it. Of course. Thanks. So yeah, I need to resize so you can see here what's going on. I'm sorry. So here, input-output settings. You can see here I can change between a switch or a button. And as I mentioned, a button is it's like this, a button where you click and a click back. But when it's like a flip switch I have in the back. So this will be called a switch. I press save. Good. So that's basically the settings for this device. And if I switch it on now, I should be able to see the image changing here to on. Let me just try. Maybe I need to update the window. Not sure what's going on. 1 second. Yeah. Okay. So now it's updated the screen. Let me just try to switch it on. Let me see if it's saved. The button settings. No, it's still a button. I need to change it to a switch. Come on. All right. Let me just try to go to the IP address of the device and do it from the settings right here. Because for some reason it didn't work. Input 0. Let me just try to see if the button, I need to change it to a switch. Okay, I could do it from the web UI. For some reason, not from the interface. Let me see if it helps. Okay, good. Now, if I press the button, it should become blue to illustrate that it's a switch. Yes, so that means now I turned my device on and now I'll turn it off. Exactly, so you can see it reacts quite fast. Good. So now I need to create my action. I press the device and I go to the action tab, and I already have an action. Let me delete it. So now I would like to show how to create a new action. I press the add action button right here, and now I need to give it a name. It could be turn on dimmer, and give it a time. I just want it to work always, so I hit the next button, and now I need to set a condition. So as I chose this to be a switch, I will just need to press here input on. And now I need to set my URL. If it was a button, I should just use the button pushed, long pushed, double pushed, or triple pushed. But now this is a switch, a flip switch. So I'll use the input on type. And now I need to enter the URL, which I copied here. And now I need to enter the IP address of my device. And if you remember, I wrote this in the Excel file. You cannot see it, but I remember that this Shelly dimmer was using 168.20, which is from my IoT network, .11. So that's the IP address. And if I hit save now, hopefully, when I press the button, it will send a local direct device to device command to the dimmer, which will turn on. Let me just see if this works now. Always interesting doing this live. Hey, and it works. So now I can turn the device on, but I can probably not turn it off. Nope, I cannot turn it off because I did not make the DDD command for switching the device off. I can switch it off from the hardwired button if I want to. All right, so I need to make another action. I can do it from the same device that also turns off the light. So I will make a new action. I will call it turn off dimmer. It should work always. The condition now is when the input goes off again, then I want my dimmer to turn off. Hit next, and now I need to insert my URL, and it's so easy, quick and easy just to go here to find the light off. And if you remember, it is just the end of the name, which is turn off instead of turn on. I can copy this, go to my action settings, and now I just need to modify my IP address again, like that, and hit save. And now I should be able to turn on the dimmer and to turn off the dimmer. And I even spelled this wrong, like that. Good, just a detail. Good. Let me see if I can turn on and off now wirelessly. On, off. It works. And I don't know if you noticed how fast this reacted. Immediately. So it is really, really fast, and it is so fast, and you can also use dimming functionality, etc. when doing these actions. Then you just need to use some of the dimming cycles instead. So the dim cycle, dim up, down, whatever. Then you can start dimming wirelessly, etc. You can also set the brightness. Let me just try to make a setting here where I set the brightness to 10%, just to illustrate that we can do that. So now I would like to use, okay, I don't want to change. Let me try to use a button 2. That's the button next to this one. I need to change this from a button to a switch, a flip switch. You can see it on the icon. If you have this on-off icon, it's then it's the device type is like a switch. If it's just a circle like here, then it's a button type. Let me hope that I can change it from here to a switch and it works. No, for some reason it will not do it locally or from the interface. Let me do it from the IP address of the device. Probably because it's in beta mode still. So now I have switched the next input, and you can see it here, it already changed. So let me try to use the second button now. So when I turn on the second button, I would like my light to turn on 10% light. Let me create a new action. And now I say turn dimmer on 10%. Time always, condition when input is on. And now I need to enter my command here and modify the IP address to my new IP address. And the brightness should, instead of 70%, should be 10%. Hit save. All right, so now I've saved it. Let me just make one that turns off the light again afterwards while I'm doing it. Turn off dimmer. Time always, condition, input off, URL. So it and when you know how it works, it's quite simple just to modify this 20.11. Let me see if it works. Hopefully it does. No, and I know the problem because there's a problem in my URL address. Because if you see the URL, we don't have to turn on. So I basically need the turn on function. So that's a problem with the URL. So it's good that I found finding here my problem. So I need the turn on first, and then I need hopefully turn on and set the brightness. Otherwise it will not turn on. So hopefully this will help. Yes, see what happened. So I will change this immediately afterwards. But you can see now it's switched on at 10% light level, and now it should also switch off. Like that. Good. So it's working. That was just some very basic DDD HTTP commands, but as mentioned, you can find all of them right here. There was one problem with the one where I set the brightness. I forgot to add the turn on function. I will change it, but otherwise, besides that, you have all of the most common used turn on, turn off, toggle functionalities, and so on. And you have the full description of how to use these commands, so which I really recommend to use for the light that should just work locally. Someone needs to leave, and yes, of course, I will send the presentation afterwards. So we have around 20 minutes left. I promised to show something about decrease my camera again. So I just did a lot with the camera camera size too big. I'm sorry. I hope you got what I meant. Anyway, I will show some examples of how to use the what is it called, the door window sensor to maybe turn off a TRV. So I don't have any TRVs in this room, but I have TRVs in other parts of my rooms, like in the living room. And right now, if I press the living room, you can see that my TRV is actually on 100% level, so it's open. Let me see if I can turn it off by using DDD actions. So I need the IP address, of course. I need to remember it. It's 192.168.1.218. Good. So I need to find the DDD command for door window sensor. Let me hope that I added it here. I'm not sure if I did, honestly. For the TRV. Valve position. Yes, I have the valve position right here. So what I would like to is actually to set the valve position to 0. So I have the command here. So let me see if it works. I've never done it, honestly. So let's just hope that it's working. So I need to go back to my Shelly door window sensor to find the DDD here. And let me just see open URL. So when my the window sensor opens, I want this to send a DDD HTTP command to my TRV to turn it off. All right, let's see if it works. Edit. So it looks a little bit different because this is a first generation device and not a second generation device, but basically it's the same. So here I need to enter the IP address of my thermostat, 218 if I remember correctly, and I need to set the valve position to 0. Save. Okay, and that is, let me see when it opens, and I need to activate it. Is it activated? Open URL? No. Add URLs to enable toggler. What is happening? Why didn't it save it? Sometimes if it does not work properly, go to the device IP address. And then you can set it from here as well. Maybe because it's in sleep mode. What? 1 second. The thing is that the door window sensor is a sleeping device, so you probably might need to wake it up before this will work. Of course, I forgot that. So let me see if it has saved the action now. I'll just update the interface. Find my door window to see if it sets the open. Yeah, now I can activate it, I think. Yes, it remembered this, so I need to activate the open URL. Can I go to the IP address now? That's the challenge about sleeping devices. Luckily, in the very near future, we'll also get a Bluetooth door window sensor, just like we have the Bluetooth button right here, and these will react immediately. Maybe it has gone to sleep mode already. Or maybe there's some duplicated IP. Let me see if it reacts. Honestly, it's a long time ago since I've used it. It's open, so it is reacting. Let me see, and it is activated. So actually, it should work now. It might have been working what I just did. So let me see if the TRV now is actually closed. So if I go to my home, go to my living room, finding my TRV here. So it seems that it's still 100%. It seems like it's still open. Wait 1 second. I need to allow it. Auto temperature control. Let me see. It's a very good question. Good challenge you're giving me here. How is it working? Open window. Here I need to activate it. Enable open window report endpoint. Yeah, sorry. So you need to enable open window on the TRV itself. So let me try to close it and open it again and see if it works. Like that. So it should say it's still 100%. Let me see if the door window reacted. It is closed now. Now it should open. So it's open, yeah. Let me see if it reacts now, the TRV here. Still open. Okay, that is strange. Maybe I did something wrong. Maybe I didn't. Honestly, I need to dive deeper into this. It should work like this, I think. I activated the open window, but I'm not sure if I did it right. Let me follow up on this and send out the solution to all of you together with my follow-up. It should be as simple as I just did, but it seems that it did not shut down close my TRV when it's opened. Open URL. Since this thermostat position 0, let me try to change it to position 100 just to see if it's vice versa. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know exactly what is happening. It could also be that there's a delay. I need to dig deeper into this. I will send you the solution later. Let me just find out how it's working. As I said, it's first time actually doing this specific example by HTTP requests. So I will follow up on this later when I've spoken with our support team. Now I want to continue with some other stuff. Let me just check if it's because of delay, so I'll change the URL back to see if it reacts just slower. It could be that there's some delay on this. So I'll change the URL to what I thought was right, to 0, and press save. And I'll try to open it, and let's come back later to see if it's working. Let me jump back to my presentation because now I want to continue with some scripting because we only have 14 minutes left. Here. And my presentation is here. All right, good. Very, very interesting. So we are very soon ready to announce a Shelly scripting online course. So I'm not an expert in scripting. Honestly, I've never done it. I'm only capable of importing some scripts and do the basic editing inside these scripts. But we will launch a Shelly Academy, which is a 7 weeks online course, which where you need, I think it's 2 hours per week, where you need to participate online. And you will be able to learn scripting from the bottom, from the very beginning. You don't need any experience or anything else to get started with scripting. So go to this website, shelly.cloud/enbg/Shelly Scripting Basics. From here, you can enter your email address and get notifications when this is ready for signups. So I think this is very exciting. Okay. Also very interesting is that Alterco is an official ChatGPT enterprise partner, which means that we basically have full access to the ChatGPT service. So for those of you who are not interested in learning scripting, but still want to be able to do some basics or to do some functions, which is not possible with the Shelly app, ChatGPT, the OpenAI might be able to create simple or even some semi-advanced scripts for you. So we are training this to do scripts for us. It's not perfect yet, but it can already support with quite a lot of different functionalities. So for example, if you go to ChatGPT or to OpenAI, you can try asking ChatGPT, can you make a JavaScript to control my Shelly TRV from an external temperature sensor? We can basically try this. Just 1 second to see how this works. So from here, let's go to the cool thing about this new browser is that we have ChatGPT built in. So can you write a JavaScript to for my Shelly TRV to use external temperature sensor. Let me see if it works. I've not been playing a lot with it, but let me see if it can write me a script now. Okay, it did not work. That's crazy. Okay, maybe we should go to the openai.com then, because from here I know that it works. You just need to log in. I just thought that you could do it directly from the chat robot inside here, but probably not. That's crazy. All right. Okay, times is ticking. Try play with this because I've been playing a little bit with it. I just did it from OpenAI and not from the ChatGPT. I need to log in somewhere. So try login and try to play with this. Try asking for different kind of scripts, and it will actually create you a lot of kind of scripts directly, which you can basically copy paste into this. I would like to do one more thing, because I have a pool, and I'll just share with you my presentation again, because here, this is one of my favorite scripts. And as a lot of you are from Finland, you might already know about it, but there's a Finnish website called spothinta.fi, and this guy here has made some quite nice scripts for Shelly. And there's a lot of documentation right here, a get started guide in Finnish. So obviously I cannot speak Finnish, but I could use my Google browser to translate the get started guide, and it works quite good. There's also a YouTube video that shows how to use this, but I'll just show you very quickly. So you need to copy this script right here, this library address, right here, and then I will show you how this works, because I have a pool pump and I want this pool to only be turned on in the 8 cheapest hour a week. So I need to go to the IP address of the device to be able to use scripting right here. So if I go here and go to scripting settings, I can now use the library button to import scripts. And from here, I would like to import the scripts. Let me just see. I need to take it from here. I cannot copy it while it's in this mode, but you can always copy it from here. Copy this library and paste it. Configure URL and paste it right here. Press save. And now you can see all of the scripts from Spothinta. So what I would like to do is the spot price and rank control relays. I press the insert code button. Now it's inserting his script. You cannot see what I'm doing. I'm so sorry for that. Need to change my window again. All of this technique. Okay. Press add script. Sorry, don't do that. Press library. Press configure URL. Insert the script. Library. Configure URL. Insert the script. Press save. And then press spot price and rank control relays and press insert code. And now you're getting the full script. Now you just need to do some simple editing. So here you are setting the region. So FI means Finland. DK2 means this part of Denmark I'm living in. So that's just what I would like to use. Now I scroll down because there are different kind of scripts. I can see the time is flying so fast. So if you have time, just stay because I will probably go 5-10 minutes above time. Then we have different kind of options here. The first setting, so the price limit 1 here, means that first I can choose whether I would like to turn on and off this relay based on a price limit. And here I can set the price limit in euro cents. So this is using hourly prices, because in Finland and in Denmark and many of the Scandinavian countries, we are having hourly different prices hourly. And here this means that when the price is below 30 euro cents, the relay will switch on. And you can just change the limit here to 20 euro cents or whatever you would like to. You can also here pick for which allowed days. So first day is Monday and the 7th day is Sunday. The relay 0. So you remember, if we have more relays like on the Shelly Pro 4 PM, you need to change from relay 0 to relay 3. Give it a name if you want to. Let me just call it my pool pump. So this is just for the console down here. But I don't want to use this because if you set a fixed price, I don't know if the price is above this limit every day, I cannot control it. So basically I want to use another functionality this script also have. So if I scroll down to price limit, actually it's called rank price 1. From here, it gives me the opportunity to look 24 hours ahead. and to make the script automatically turn on my pool pump for the X number of cheapest hour a day. And this is the functionality I want. So I set this from false to true. I know that my pool pump needs to run 6 hours a day. So I change the rank from 5 to 6. This means that this script will look at the electricity prices 24 hours ahead and will turn on the pool pump in the 6 cheapest hours a day. I could also make some maximum allowed prices, etc., etc. But this is the functionality I would like to. I call it pool pump here, and this is it. Now this script will automatically turn on my pump. I press save. I go to the scripts, and it is this one. I turn it on, and now I need to start it. And that's it. Now my pool pump should automatically turn on when the price is on the cheapest. And very soon in the console, I should be able to see if it will switch on or switch off. Then you can see the lock right here. It's very nice because it gives you the opportunity to see if this is actually working, or if it's not working. Let me just scroll down to see if it is the right script that I've used. Yes, relay use through. So very soon something should happen right here. And that's it. Now my pool pump will automatically turn on when the price is cheapest. Script initialization is done. Great. Let's wait a few minutes to see if something else is happening right here. While waiting for this, I'll just see if my TRV has turned off. I don't know. No, it's still on. So there is definitely something wrong with my DDD action. That's strange. Okay, good. Let me just come back and see. Okay, so something has happened here. Relay actually turned on. So this means that right now we are in one of the 6 cheapest hours a day. So if I go back and it's checking my pool pump, and my pool pump is here, then it's now on. Okay, I have an automatic timer which turns it off automatically. I will remove my auto off timer, but this is great. So now my pool pump will automatically turn on and off, and you can see it's consuming 687 watts. So it's quite expensive. It's quite a lot of money I can save by having this automatic control when the price is on its cheapest. This is one of my favorite scripts, and the Spot Hinter has made many very nice scripts. If I go to the scripts and if I press the library, you can see here, this is the library of all scripts that the Spot Hinter has made. So there's also some weather forecast, adjusted rank, and spot price. So this is for more advanced heating control also, that takes into consideration the weather forecast and so on. So there are some very nice scripting from here. I would definitely recommend taking a look. There are a link in my presentation. And we are not even done yet. I have a few things more to speak about. I'll just quickly show you in my presentation. I will go as fast as I can right now because the time is very close to be up. So there's some best practice, and this is basically some of the last part I have. Local lighting control, solar production, so how we can use the overproduction. And also I prepared something for the Shelly add-on. Let me see if I can make it in the next 10 minutes or so. If you need to leave, it's completely okay. I can see most of you have stayed for the whole 2 hours, so I really hope you enjoyed it. If you have some more time, you can stay and enjoy the next 10-15 minutes together with me. If you don't have time, you'll get the recordings anyway, but I think this is going to be quite interesting as well. So this is 2 different kind of solutions for using local control. As there was a question, what is happening if the router breaks down or something like that? Well, yes, if the router breaks down and you are using the wireless control, then the communication between the Shelly i4 and the Shelly dimmer will not work So there's another option, and you can see the two different solutions here. So the first solution is if you have the opportunity to do the wiring from the wall switch down here and up to the Shelly dimmer, then you can and from the Shelly dimmer and up to your lamp or something like that, then your light will always work, no matter if your wireless Wi-Fi network goes down, if your internet from the outside goes down, no matter what, it will always work. So this is definitely the best option you can have. And as you can see here, what I really like about the Shelly dimmer is that it has two inputs, the SW1 and also a SW2, which can be used for different kind of things. This is another example I'm using quite a lot in my house. I love that. So you can actually connect two different wall switches to the Shelly dimmer. I will use the first wall switch right here to control the output, which is controlling the lamp. And this works completely offline, even if the router breaks down and whatever, because it's hardwired. You can see that right here. But I'm also very often using the second input. So I have a double switch, double wall switch. So the second input can be used to be programmed to do whatever you would like to. And that's one of the definitely advantages of Shelly, that you have the opportunity to program each input as you would like to. So I'm using the second input very often to send a wireless signal to my Raspberry Pi, which is controlling my home assistant, which can control my wireless Sonos speaker system, for example. So just from this one switch, I can one dimmer, I can connect two switches. The one switch will control my light hardwired, so it will always work no matter what. And the second is like a more nice to have function where I can control my music. I can control some other smart light. I can control some other things in my house, even my coffee machine, which is on Wi-Fi through a third-party gateway. And this is an opportunity you have with Shelly, and I've not really seen it with anyone else. I can show you how I do it in Home Assistant, but maybe we should dive even more deep into this when we someday will do the third-party integrations. But it is very simple, because when you press the light switch and something hits the switch 2 input, then the Shelly sends a message to your Raspberry Pi, and based on this message you can easily do something with third-party devices. Okay, so this solution here will work no matter what. This is another solution which is much more flexible. So to the Shelly i4, as I mentioned, this is a pure input reader, no relay, no dimmer built in, but it can make 4 switches intelligent. So it gives you maximum flexibility. If you, for example, like I have in the back here, have 4 different switches, I can make each of them intelligent, and I can control whatever I want. And it works completely local. It don't need any internet connection from the outside. But if the router breaks down, of course, it will not work, because as you can see here, it is using the router. It is when a wall switch is being pressed, it sends a wireless signal to the Wi-Fi router, which sends a wireless signal to the Shelly Demo 2 or whatever you have been programming. So if the wireless connection is not working, this will not work either. But but compared to this example, this will always work no matter what, because it is hardwired. All right, but at the same time, you can use the other switches to turn on your music, to turn on your coffee machine, to turn on your outdoor lights, because it's wireless. So that's the reason you should think about when you're building this house. What do you want to do? Do you want to be able to have maximum flexibility, programmable switches? Do you even need 4 programmable switches? Then the i4 is very, very great solution, and it works local. You just need a stable Wi-Fi connection. That thing I showed you today, how we can make it quite easy, and also make the good overview of IP addresses and so on. Or if you want everything to be hardwired but still controllable from the app, and with the possibility to have at least one second switch where you can do some third-party integrations or whatever other controls, then you also have this option by using just the Shelly dimmer and some hard wiring. Another good use case is that you can use the solar production and use the overproduction to switch on and off some Shelly devices. This is a use case which I've been got a lot of requests for. So how do we actually do this? And I can show you quite fast how we can do this with some DDD commands or with the scene functionality. So basically, when you have overproduction, you will not see you will see on your Shelly EM or Pro 3M that it says minus something, because when you have a minus consumption, then it means you have an overproduction. You're producing more energy than you're using, and you can use this overproduction to turn on your electrical vehicle or turn on your heating device or cooling device or whatever you would like to use the energy in-house instead of sending back the energy to the grid. And by that, you are probably saving money, because I know at least in Denmark, you are not getting the same price for the electricity you are sending back as you are buying. So I will just quickly show you how this works as well. And then we have the Shelly Plus add-ons. I will show you also it's a pity that the time is already up, because the Shelly Plus add-on is such a nice device, and you have so many different functionalities. I have them in my bag. I've made 4 examples. You can connect so many different sensors. We are not developing the sensors. The sensors can be bought online on eBay, Amazon, or different kind of online shops, or wherever you're buying your electronic devices from. But for example, you can connect up to 5 DS18B20 sensors, which is this temperature sensor, which I'm going to use for measuring the water temperature in my pool. We can also use this soil moisture sensor to measure if the earth, the grass is too dry and you need to water it. You can also use this device this is a pressure device. I have just one in my bag. So when I press this device with more than 10 kilos, it will turn on and it will send a signal to the Plus add-on. So for example, I intend to install this pressure sensor under each side of the bed. So for example, when both me and my wife has went to bed and it's after like 10 p.m. in the night, we can make our lights turn off, our door to be locked automatically, our Sonos speakers to turn off, etc., etc. So we will shut the whole house down and turn on the alarm in the house. So such scenarios can be done while automating. You don't need to set your alarm automatically, or you don't need to turn off the lights automatically, because with the pressure sensors in the bed or whatever you would like to do, your house just knows what is happening. All right, a lot of different sensors, and I can show you here what I have done. I've just played around with the pressure sensor. This is the type of pressure sensor I have bought. The DHT22, which is a combined temperature and humidity sensor. This is the capacitive liquid level sensor, so it will basically, it can read liquid from the outside of this bottle. I will show you how this works. We have the door window sensor connected, and in combination with the Shelly Plus One and this door window sensor, you will also be able to, for example, open and close your Jarrett's door, and even see the state of the Jarrett's door because of the door window sensor, if it is opened or closed or not. And this is the soil moisture sensor, where I can use to see if my plants or flowers or whatever needs water, or the grass outside in my garden. So there's no real limitation. You can connect so many different devices, and I've shown you here how you can connect it. So door window sensor needs to be connected to the ground and the digital in. The same for the pressure sensor. The DHT22 needs to be connected to the VCC, which is the voltage and the data and the ground here. You can only have one DHT22 temperature and humidity sensor connected to the device, but you can have up to 5 pure temperature sensor of the type DS18B20, which we are also selling at Shelly, connected at the same time, and get 5 different temperature readings. That's quite amazing. Here you can see an example how to use the capacitive liquid detectors. So for example, if you have like a water tank where you have the upper and the lower level, then it can check if there's water in between these levels, and you just need to connect it in this way. So it's very, very simple, and then you can make some very nice automations of how to do this. There just came a question from Kimo. How do you set solar overproduction working well? I will show you just a minute. I will finalize my presentation and then I will show you the last few things. And here is how you connect the soil moisture sensor to the Shelly Plus devices. You can also play around with this. I will not show you, but it's very simple wiring, and then you have the added functionality. And then I attempted to do some troubleshooting, but as the time is already up, I'll not do this today. I will add all of the guides to shelly.guide and you will be able to find them inside there. And again, I want to share with you all of these links I have here. Now, I will go to the last part where I will show you the last things I promised online with some overpower and so on. There's a question if the session on the 20th of April, there will be an advanced session as well, if this will be the same or something new. So as I said, this is the first time I'm ever doing this advanced session, so I will probably do what I can to both optimize the time I'm using, so it'll be shorter, but probably also show if some of you are requesting some new things I should focus on, I will focus on these new things too. It will probably be slightly different, but it will be a lot of it will be the same with the internet setup and so on. So main topics will be the same, but probably be optimized a little bit. All right, let me just go back and show you here the online, how it looks like online. And from here, I would like to show you how we can use the Shelly EM to measure energy consumption. So if you remember, if you go to the website here, we can find information about the Shelly 3 EM, how to turn on and off the relay. So in the case here, I will use the internal relay of the Shelly 3 EM to trigger, because I've already done it, so I'll show you. And this is something that I've not added to my guide yet, but I will do it. So if you want, for example, the Shelly 3 EM to trigger its own relay, you will not need to use the IP address of the device, because it cannot send an IP command to its own IP address. So instead of the IP address, you need to replace this IP address with a local host. Let me just show you how it works. So I would like Shelly relay to turn on when the energy consumption is when I have 1000 watt overproduction. So I will find my own Shelly EM3 here, and you can see right now I have an energy consumption of 665 watt. If I go here to the action settings and I find this sum of all channels over power, and then I have sum of all channels under power. So now I actually want the under power. Sorry, I want the overpower here. So when it is over, no, I will not. I'm sorry for the confusion. I think I need to do it like this. So when it is under 1000 watt, I want this to happen. And here you can see that I cannot use the IP address because I want to switch the relay of the device itself. If I wanted to switch the relay of an external device like a Shelly +1 or +1 PM or whatever, I just needed to enter the IP address of the device here. But now I want to switch the relay of my device itself. And if I want to switch the relay of the device itself, I need to replace the IP address with localhost. So this is how it's working. So now it's very basic. So when the power is under minus the 1000 watt, which means that I have an overproduction of 1000 watt, I will switch on the relay. I just need to change this from off to on. So that's it. Save. So that's basically it. And again, if I want to switch the relay back off, I just need to change this. So when the power is over, so it could be like over 0, I could change to switch off. It's still localhost relay switch off. So this is how simple it is by using the DDD commands. I could also very simple use the scene function. So for that, I would just go to scenes. I would tell when solar panels are producing more 1000 watt more than I am using. So it's very long name, but don't matter. Here, then I will pick a room where I could enter this settings, and I will make my condition. I will find my device, which is in my circuit breaker box, and it's my Shelly 3AM. And here I could say when total current consumption is less than minus 1000 watt right here. Save. So now I have it when it's less than 1000 watt. What it should do. So I could basically just trigger the relay of the device I would like to trigger. It could be its own relay that should be turned on. Save. Next. So now I could go and find it. And from here, I could find my automation out here, my scene out here. But again, as mentioned, when making a scene like this, you are depending on your cloud connection. This needs the cloud to work. But again, the cloud is up and running 99% of the time. It's at least in Denmark, where I'm living. I'm never without internet. But it might happen that the cloud will be down once in a while. So I recommend using DDD requests, which I showed you. So you're finding your device. Sorry, I couldn't find it here. And going to the DDD actions, and I have them right here. I just need to activate them like that. And now they're activated, and you can see my action right here, how it works. So that's basically how you can make some some use of your overproduction from your solar production. 18 minutes over time. The last part I have, and I can see many of you are still here. I'm so happy for that you are still here. Last very small thing I would like to show you is just the devices behind me, the Shelly Plus add-ons, and I have them here in my demo room, and you can see here I've already added them. Add-on with inductive liquid sensor. So I just want to show you, I press this, I've added the add-on module, and it is right here in the peripherals add-on section, and I've already added it, so I don't want to show you how to do it, but it's quite simple. Just add a peripheral. I cannot pronounce it very good. Then you choose what type of sensor you have added, and this is quite simple. Now I've added this digital input. Let me show you, because now it says off. Let me see if it works. Come on, not good, not good. I want to make it a little bit bigger. So here you can see my screen, and you should be able to see this turn on or this go on when it detects water. So I have my water cup here, and let me see. Can you see it? So it basically turned on. It says on right here. It says on the screen here, and it went on down here. If I remove it again, it reacts fast. So this is my water sensor. I could probably do the same with, I also have an optic. I have this optic water sensor, but this only reacts if it gets in contact with water. So I have to put it down, and I don't want to do it in my bottle, but it works exactly the same way. It just needs to be in contact with the water. I also have the pressure sensor, and the pressure sensor is not programmed, but it's right here. So I can just show you how to make the local programming of how it works. So I press my add-on actions, and I just need to make an action. So here I have my digital input, and now I just need to say turn on or turn off. So condition is when the input is on. I want to add a local action here, so it's much more simple. I don't need to put the URL address. I could do it, but I just want to make a local action that say the output will be turned on. That's it. Now I want to turn it off again when there's no pressure on the pressure sensor. So again, I use my digital input. Let's say turn off my relay all day, and condition should be when the input is off. I also want to set a local action that goes off, and that's it. Now, hopefully, so this is my pressure sensor. When I press it hard, hopefully my pressure sensor should go on. Let me try. Yeah, you see, now I'm pressing it and my pressure sensor went on. I need to press it quite hard, 10 kilos. On, off. It's amazing what you can do with these kind of sensors. This is definitely some of the most interesting things that Shelly have got for a long time. All right, but I don't want to waste any more of your time. I am so happy that you wanted to participate. Let me just find my screen so we can say nice goodbye. Where is it? Screen share. So it's even gone here. I just lost my camera.